Hello Internet, I am Corione, your witch in residence here on YouTube. And today we're going to do something a little different. Normally I talk about what we can learn from various pop culture movies. Today I'm actually going to tackle what we shouldn't take away from this one. Now, before I get too deep in, I do want to thank all my subscribers and channel members for coming out and supporting these videos. I would ask you to please consider continuing that process, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Now, with that obligatory message out of the way, let's dig into what we shouldn't learn from Hotel Transylvania. Now, Hotel Transylvania is a little bit, the whole franchise is a little bit of a staple around my house. I have a daughter who likes these kind of movies that are a little on the kooky and spooky side, but still very, very approachable, right? Think like back in the 80s, how we had the Beetlejuice cartoon series. It really wasn't that scary, but it was kind of funny. And in this story, we find out that Dracula, in fact, has a daughter. And the daughter is falling in love, but falling in love with a human instead of a monster or a vampire or whatever. And they say in the movie, one of the big points of the movie is that you only get one true love. They call it a zing, a feeling like, that moment of infatuation when you meet the person of your dreams. I am going to take the opposite view of this, that you do not just get one great love in your life. Okay? Now, I am going to say, to the series' credit, they do correct this later by Dracula having a second great love of his life. But for the purposes of this discussion, we are only going to discuss the first movie. So before you bomb my comments saying, "Oh, Corion's wrong here," keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to put forward a concept to everybody watching this. That's something that's been a bit of a guiding principle in my life. Love is not pie, okay? You know how when somebody bakes a pie, there are only so many slices in that pie, right? So, if you're the last person at the family function to go for that piece of apple pie, you might not get it and you get left out. Okay, love isn't like that. Let's take a different kind of love. Let's take familial love, okay? You love your mom, you love your dad, you love your siblings most of the time. But if you were to get a new brother or sister, or somebody so close to you that they felt like part of your family, the love expands. You get more love to share, right? It's the infinite pie, if you will. This is true for all kinds of love, okay? I have had brothers come into my life that, I never thought I would have, right? I have fallen in love with many, many wonderful people in my life. Some romantically, some, familially, some, loved from afar. But the truth of the matter is, the human heart is a wonderful thing in that it grows with the amount of people in your life that you are capable of loving. There's a really one of my favorite authors, Robert Heinlein, who wrote that the more time you spend around somebody, the more you love them. And if you have time enough for love, you can love everyone who's decent and just. And I think that's accurate. Okay? We can love as many people as we are willing to make the time for. Okay? I think we have the capability to have more than one great love in our life. How often do we see people who have loved, have lost the love of their life through tragedy, and have moved on and loved again? It doesn't mean that they stopped loving their previous wife. You don't turn off love like a switch and start loving someone else. You still love that original person, but you also love this new person. Okay? We are all capable of this. Okay. Now, some people say, well, Mike, you're just telling us about polyamory, which has been around for like 40 years and, has existed since really the dawn of time. And there's a lot of different. I'm not talking necessarily about that. Okay. Some people are just not wired to have multiple romantic partners at the same time. And that's fine. Not everyone should be, not everyone is. Okay? What I am talking about is loving someone completely, totally, and fully, and something not great happening, and then moving on, not moving away, but moving on, and learning to love again. Okay? I think we are all capable of loving again. I think we are all emotionally capable of doing so. And the question becomes, are you emotionally available to? And that's got to be answered by everyone separately. Okay. I am not saying everyone is going to be emotionally available to love again. Not everyone is always. Okay. But open yourself up to love. Okay. Be willing to allow it into your heart. Okay. Don't close off your love for others because, well, I had my one great love and that's all I get. Okay? No. Be open to the idea. Allow yourself to be willing to accept love from other people. It's so important to your life as a human being because when you cut yourself off from love, you cut yourself off from the greater humanity. And when you do that, when you cut yourself off from love, you're never going to be the same person again. And that's not fair to those around you who do care about you. Okay. Um, for example, I don't necessarily love every one of my subscribers, but I do care about all of you. And I would love to get to know you guys to the point where I can, yeah, in terms of friends and family and those kinds of love, I would love to learn to love you all. Okay. I'd love to be able to spend the time to get to know each of you and learn to love you as people. And I hope you are open to that. And I hope you are not willing to cut yourself off from the possibility. Look, oftentimes in the modern world, when people are talking about current dating and hookup culture and all of that, they put it more into value statements, right? Is this worth my time? Is this person worth this or that? Or do I value these traits over others? Consider looking beyond it, okay? Consider spending time with people, even if you don't right away click, and find the good in them, okay? I have a general rule. I don't break up with somebody unless I know them well enough to know that I'm not going to be willing to make this work, okay? But in order to do that, I have to get to know somebody. I have to spend some time with them. I have to say, well, maybe while that first date was pretty terrible, I'm going to give them the opportunity to try again just in case this was a bad day for them or they had bad luck or whatever the heck happened. Okay? Let's be willing to do that. All right? Let's be willing to give everyone a chance. Okay? Every single person to show us why we should love them. And then be open to the possibility of loving them. Because I think everybody is worth it. All right? The Christians say that even the worst of us can be redeemed. I would argue that everyone who is good and just can be loved. Okay? Not everyone is good, not everyone is just, but those who are, I think, can be loved. And I am willing to give them the opportunity to try. Okay? And I'm willing to give myself the opportunity to love. I'm open to the concept. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to love everyone, but it means I'm willing to try. And that's where it all begins, right? Let's not look for value. Let's not look for the prettiest, wealthiest dude or the hottest babe or the person who ticks all the right boxes all the time. Let's look for the person that we can sit down and have a great conversation with and we click. And let's give them time to see if we can move beyond, attractiveness and desire and move into that state of, wow, I really love this person and I want to make a life where they're involved. And it may not necessarily be that person you want to make a life with, may not necessarily be somebody you're romantically attracted to. Okay. Um, you guys have heard me talk about my brother, Tony. That wasn't my brother by birth, but definitely my brother by choice. And part of getting to know him and part of being with him was me realizing, wow, I want this dude involved in my life from here on out. Not necessarily, living on my couch or not necessarily, being my neighbor across the hall or anything, but just being there as part of my life, right? Now it just so happens, in the world we lived in, hey, we dated the same girls occasionally. We, even on days where we were like, well, I want to do a date, but nobody's available. Hey, Tony, let's go to a movie, right? And having that completely non sexual life partner experience. Be open to that too, man. There's nothing wrong with having a really good friend like that, okay? I'm not saying you need to do anything physical with them. You do what you're physically comfortable with doing, okay? But be open to the idea of, wow, this guy's my brother. I love him, okay? And it's okay to be like that. It's okay to say, wow, in 5 years, this guy is going to be my best man, right? You can do that, okay? You can have a friendship like that. And you can have, and it just so happens that my best friend, my brother, happened to introduce me to the woman that would become my wife, right? And how great was that? And having him stand up for us while we were getting married was an amazing experience. And I want that for all of you. And I don't want you to get burned by somebody who you thought loved you and you loved them so badly that you don't give it a try anymore. Because you're worth it. And if you allow other people to see how worth it you are, I am sure each and every one of you is going to wind up with a lovely loved one, a lovely friend, a brother, a sister, whoever you need. Because at the end of the day, if we have time enough, we can love everyone who is good and just, including Drac from our movie, who happens to be a 10,000-year-old vampire. And you'd figure in 10,000 years, he would know that love is one of those things where if you give it enough time, you'll find it again. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I just want to let you guys know that after the live stream that we've raised money for Child's Play, that another donor added a donation in our name and doubled what we raised. So we did a fantastic job for the kids. We raised enough for them to potentially commercially purchase an Xbox if needed for a hospital. You guys did that. You guys are amazing. Thank you again. I'm going to end this video off. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.